Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. I am Donna, and thank you for spending some time out of your busy day to check in with me and to maybe listen to some of the things that I can share about my own life and the things that I've learned that hopefully can help you. It means a lot to me, and it's a great joy to be able to use my life in a way that some of the things that I've learned have helped me grow and really become a very happy person in so many ways. And I hope I can do that for you. That's why I do these shows. I hope that I can help enrich your life by finding some of the things that I have found that have helped me so much. And today we're going to talk about how that feeling younger is really an inside job. And a lot of people tell me that I look younger than 58 years old. And they always ask me, is the secret that you have eating cultured foods? And it is. Partially, I really believe that because these foods are so nutrient dense, I believe I get more to my cells in the nutrients that they need than I normally would. But I don't think that's the only reason. The word probiotic literally means for life. And cultured foods preserve the foods. They load them with good bacteria, and they preserve them, and they make them last a very long time. And I believe that when you eat these foods, they preserve you too. But I also believe that some of the ways that you can look younger and stay healthier is to be happy. And I think that the amount of joy that you feel, the amount of excitement for life that you feel, how do you feel when you get up in the morning, I think that really equates into looking younger because the stress hormones lower in your life, and the happiness factor takes over, and you produce different chemicals in your body. You produce different neurotransmitters in the brain, and this allows the body to heal and allows the body to be healthy and stay younger. And I really believe that the answer to my prayers and to feeling well and to feeling happy and to feeling younger was through these foods, and not just through these foods, but by training my brain to look for answers and wellness in a way that we normally don't today. Most people think that sickness is the norm, and that's not really true. We are designed, our bodies are designed to be healthy, and they're designed to keep us healthy and to keep us well. But we have forgotten so many components of what it is to live a healthy lifestyle that and it's much more than just food. This is just a piece of it. It's a big piece of it because the cells of our body are made from the food we eat, but how we feel about the food and how we feel about the rest of our life translates into huge areas in our life that will equate wellness or create sickness, depending on how you feel, what you're thinking about, what you're eating, what you're doing, how you're exercising. All those things are governing factors in how healthy we become. There's a quote from Joseph Campbell that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite quotes of all time. And many years ago, I heard this quote long before I started my business, and I just loved it. I wrote this down on a piece of paper, and I carried it in my purse. And it was something that really meant a lot to me. And what he said was, we must let go of the life we planned as to accept the life that is waiting for us. And I didn't even know why I was so drawn to that statement. But I did carry that around for many years. And lo and behold, that really, really happened to me. My life changed in every aspect. And I really had to let go of some of my old ways and habits and thinking. And I really became a brand new person. But never in my wildest dreams did I think I would go from being so sick and just surviving to having a whole new life. It was really crazy to me that could even happen. As a matter of fact, I didn't think it could happen. I didn't know that I had hidden talents that weren't surfacing because they were masked by sickness and disease. And looking back at my life, and it's been about 18 years now, when I look back, my ailments were actually a healing for me. And without those ailments, I would have never paid attention to the things in my life. And they came to shake me up. That pain and that sickness woke me up and made me seek the answers that otherwise I wouldn't have sought for. And often these things that happen to us in our lives, when I was so sick, it was a blessing in disguise. And at the time I couldn't see it. It just felt horrible to me. And the light was shining right down the road. The sun was out there shining for me. And all I could see was a dark cloud. But it was waiting for me to change and for me to seek it. And then the answers came. People think that sickness is a curse, and I did too. But what a blessing it has been in my life. I'm just so thankful that I got sick, that I started desperately seeking ways to heal myself. Because if I hadn't had that severe of a struggle, I would have never found the magic in life that was waiting for me. I would have never become an author or a speaker, and I would have never fallen in love with thousands and thousands of new people every day. And I do so much now that I never dreamed in a million years I would ever do. I mean, guys, when I was in high school, I skipped English class. I hated it so much. I paid my sister, who has a PhD now, to do my homework because it was one of those things that I was in drama and music class. I was always hanging out in there. And I never wanted to write anything. I never wanted to be an author. I never wanted to do any of those things. And it was so amazing to me what happened to me once I started to feel better in my life. Things started to emerge. And at this age, I feel like I'm aging backwards in a lot of ways. And so many people around me my age are all retiring. And I'm like, I just got started, guys. I'm just getting started here. And I just, I can't imagine my life without this now because it's not really, I spend hours and hours and hours a day working with this business and doing so much. We have so many things going on, and I have a staff of people, and it's so wonderful because they are my family now too, and they're not just working for me. We're all very close. We all really love each other, and we do a lot of things with integrity in our business. We try really hard to give our customers the kind of attention that we would want. That's kind of my motto. Treat other people like you'd want to be treated, and what you put out comes back. And that has happened again and again. What you put out to people comes back to you tenfold, and it is just, there is nothing like loving people, helping people get well, and helping them to see that they are this miraculous machine that has the ability to heal their bodies in a way that they couldn't even imagine. And when people come to my class and they write me letters, and they just don't know they're just scared sometimes when they're sick, and they don't know what's up, what's ahead for them. And if you feel that way, if you can just line up with the answers. And something I did when I was sick, I walked around my house, and I was always so scared because I was so sick. I had diabetes, high blood pressure. I had a 3-pound preemie, and she was so tiny and fragile, and I was scared, and I was so sick. I felt horrible. I didn't feel good. I was depressed. And I would walk around every day, and I would say, the answers will come to me. I'm not meant to live this way. It's going to be okay. The answers are going to come to me, and this too will pass. And I said it over and over and over again until one day it did. And I just started to train my mind to look for answers instead of to look for the pain that I was feeling. And it began to leave me in a pretty miraculous way. And when I was 55, I'm 58 now, but when I was 50, I started my business. And I don't know who starts their business at 50, but a lot of people do, from what I have now discovered. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that the quote from Joseph Campbell was talking to me, that said we must let go of the life we planned to accept the life that is waiting for us. But I was not the only one who started their business late in life. And I want to tell you about some of these people because it's pretty miraculous. And Louise Hay, if you know her, she started Hay House, and she is the publishing company that published my book when she was 60. And she wrote her first book, You Can Heal Your Life, which expanded into huge business when she was 50, just like me. And Louise died a year ago, I believe, and she was in her 90s, or either 90 or 91, I believe. And she just was a miraculous, miraculous lady. And her business is still doing very well. It's run by Tracy at Hay House and a lot of the other people there. They do a great job. And her legacy will live on for many years. She has done a tremendous she's done a tremendous amount with her life. She's helped so many thousands and thousands of people. But she really helped me. And when I had met her a few times, one of the things she said to me is, Donna, I drink kefir every day. You drink it every day, right? And I said, yes, I do. And she goes, I drink it every day, every morning. That is my breakfast I have every morning. And that was thrilling to me. She loved cultured foods. And I remember when they actually found me at Hay House and published me. I remember that my editor told me that Louise sent them a letter thanking them for picking me up. And I didn't know that. I guess that's something she doesn't do very often. And it was because she loved cultured foods so much. Not necessarily me, but she loved what I was, the foods because she ate them on a regular basis. And she lived a very long, very successful, very, very healthy life. And I hope to do the same. And I'm very grateful to her for opening the opportunity for me to be a published author with 3 books through Hay House. And what a blessing it has been for me. Now, there's another author who greatly influenced my life. And as a young girl, she greatly influenced my life. Her name was Laura Ingalls Wilder. And she was the author of the Little House on the Prairie books, the series. And it's interesting. She had such a wonderful story. And I didn't know about this till a few years ago. Laura Ingalls first wrote her first book when she was 65 years old. She was depleted of resources because of the Great Depression. Her and her husband were really struggling. And friends really encouraged her to write down her wonderful experiences and stories. And she did. She did that because she didn't know what else to do. And that first book got picked up and led to many other books that would turn into the popular TV series Little House on the Prairie. And, millions of people across the country have read her books, including me. I used to lay in my bed and read her books, and I loved them so much. She had a huge influence on me because she wrote a lot about food. And I used to love to read those stories. And, it was exciting to me that these stories would come alive to me. And I'm glad that she didn't give up. I'm glad that she, changed her life. Everything in her life turned around when she started writing those books. And that happened to me too. She began to experience, a lot of wealth from that, but a lot of joy in her life because those stories were precious to her. And I'm so glad that she shared them with the world. There's another lady I want to tell you about, and she's actually a nun. And her name was Sister Mary Ivern. And she started running at the age of 47. And she was kind of overweight. She smoked 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And she decided when she was 47 years old, she was going to start running. And when she did, she went on to qualify the Olympic marathon trials at an age of 54. She is awesome. And you could research her. She's a terrific lady. But she is somebody who just decided one day that, she was going to change her life. I don't know how many people do that at that age, but she did great and still does to this day. And there's another lady that you're probably familiar with, and her name was Anna Mary Robertson Moses. And she's better known as Grandma Moses. And she's a famous painter. And if you haven't seen some of her paintings, you may not realize that you've seen them because they're so famous. I'm sure you have sometime during your life. And they're beautiful pictures of people in their villages. They're kind of country, hometown pictures. They have a warmth to them. They're just beautiful pictures. And I always loved them. And I did not know that she began painting at the age of 76. And it was funny because the reason she did that was because her arthritis forced her to give up embroidery. She couldn't do her hands that way anymore, and she wanted to do something. So she started painting, and she continued painting until she was the age of 101. And she lived long enough to see some of the canvases she had sold for $3 fetch a price of $10,000 each. And she's really enriched the American heritage of this country because she's painted American scenes all across the country in such a warm and wonderful way. So many things have been designed after some of her paintings. And if you ever get a chance to see them, you'll see what I mean. They're wonderful to look at, and they're very heartwarming and very homey and very much a part of our history here in this country. That's what I really love about her paintings. You know, when I was 41, that's when I first found cultured foods. And I felt discouraged and sick at the time. And I remember just resting on the couch, and I would watch documentaries about people who had changed their lives and done extraordinary things. And at first I got sad because I wanted to feel better, but I also wanted to have some meaning with my life. And I would just cry when I would watch these documentaries because I wanted to do something like that too. But in my mind, it was impossible. There wasn't, what was I going to do? I didn't really have that many special talents or gifts. And I really didn't know where to turn. The medical community kept telling me that all my problems were because they ran in my family. It was a family history thing, and I was getting older, and this was just bound to happen. And they gave me a list of medications, and then I got really, really mad one day. And I hated somebody telling me that I had to be this way, that it was just the way that it was. And I remember one day saying to myself, my body may be struggling, but I am not down and out yet. And, I still had a fire in me. And I thought, I'm going to slay this dragon and find the life that I really want. I don't want to live this way anymore. And God help me, I was going to be one of those stories of triumph or die trying. That was my decision that I made. And that was when I found cultured foods. Or rather, I think they found me. If you haven't seen my story video, you could check it out on YouTube or on my website. It's on the sidebar there on my main page at culturedfoodlife.com. But it was a wonderful day. I remember I had gone to the health food store, and my husband was home watching the kids, and I plopped down in a chair and got some books off of the shelf at the health food store to read them because I was just too tired to stand up. And I opened a book to a page, and it just fell open to this page called kefir, and I didn't know what I didn't know what it was. I had never heard of this food or what it was, and I thought it was interesting. And then I kind of picked up the other book, and it was just shocking to me because when I laid the book in my lap, it too opened to a page on kefir. And those two books were Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon and The Bodycology by Donna Gates. And when I saw that second book open to the same recipe type or words with kefir on them, I was like, I sat up and looked at that and thought, what is that? And I started reading about it. And then right at that moment, a store employee was walking by me, and he turned around because he saw the books I was reading, and he stood in front of me and he said, you know what? That book is one of the most important books you'll ever read. You should really pay attention. It's really important. And then he walked away. And I was like, I remember I got goosebumps all over myself. And so I bought both of those books, and I went to the store, corner of the store and I asked the employees where the stuff called kefir was because I didn't know what it was, and bought a bottle and took it home. And it wasn't very long. I started giving it to my little daughter, who was really tiny. She was a preemie, and she was about 10 months old at the time. And I'd give her a spoonful every day, and I started drinking it. And within 3 weeks, her whole life changed. The color in her cheek came back. She started gaining weight, which was hard for preemies to do. And she just stopped getting sick and colds, and it was just remarkable what happened to her. And then I got better. My diabetes got better. My numbers normalized. My blood pressure lowered. But that wasn't what really got my attention. I mean, that was huge for me. But what really got my attention was the day that I was standing in the kitchen doing dishes, and I found myself in the front yard filling up all my bird feeders. And I remember looking around that front yard, and the grass was so green, and the birds were singing, and all of a sudden I've had this sense of well-being, this wellness that I don't believe I've ever known before. It was an incredible feeling of wellness. And I didn't know what had happened to me, but I felt so good. I never wanted to not feel that good again. And that was a turning point in my life. You know, weeks before, I didn't give a rip about the birds. They could get their own food because I didn't feel good. I didn't want to take care of them. But suddenly I felt so good that I had compassion for them, and it was such a unbelievably wonderful feeling that it changed my whole life, and I never turned back from that day. And it was after that I started researching it. I would stay up late at night I would feed my daughter all because she had to eat all the time because she was so tiny. And when she would eat, I would research and try to figure out what this was and why had it helped my blood sugar and why had it helped my, blood pressure and why it had helped her. And that journey has lasted 18 years. And what a journey it has been. Because it changed not only the way that I felt physically, but it changed the way I felt emotionally. It gave me a sense of joy and a sense of well-being that I had never known before. And that's what wellness does. And guys, you don't have to listen to me. I mean, there are many paths to wellness. This was just my path. And I've helped so many people find it, but I want you to find your path because life is this incredible journey. And if you don't feel good, you can't live it to its fullest. I had no idea I wanted to be a writer, but buried down inside of me, past the sickness, past the disease, was this gift I had that I could tell my story and I could write it down. And I was a music major in college, so I would put headphones on and I would write. I would put music on and I would write. And lo and behold, I loved it. It gave me a sense of purpose to my life. I loved helping people. I loved, communicating with others and helping them find the wellness they deserved. And it changed my whole life. But if my body had stayed sick, I would have never found that. I would have never known that I could have been a writer. That's the one thing that you need. If you don't feel good or if you're struggling, your body is your greatest resource. It's greater than anything else in your life. And when you treat it right and when you do your best to help it find the wellness it deserves, everything in your life will change. And it's interesting to me because I never expected the answers that would come to me would be in the form of food. That really, I kind of do see how that happened because I'm kind of a foodie. So if anybody was going to try to get my attention and they did it in the form of food, I would pay attention. So that was a wonderful thing for me because it was something I loved to cook. I loved to, make foods and look up recipes. And you guys, I have like thousands of cookbooks. It's a little beyond ridiculous. But I love science too. I love understanding the science behind things. That's, I have a lot of medical people in my family, a lot of people that love that kind of thing. My dad was a very smart man. He had like 5 degrees, and my sister she's got a PhD in all different kinds of sciences, and it's an exciting thing to me to put it all together. And so researching it and understanding it is really, really fun for me. And one of the things that I started to understand about these cultured foods that I was eating was that all of these trillions of bacteria that house my body and that are in these foods that we make, when we eat these foods that have cultured foods in them that help make me well, the bacteria inside of them helps me digest the foods that I eat. And, any food that I eat with it, it helps me digest. It also helps fight foreign invaders. It helps make vitamins. It helps you get nutrients from your food. It eats extra cholesterol out of the bloodstream. So it uses that as a fuel source. So it lowers your cholesterol naturally. And it's doing this every minute of every day while you're just going about your day. And wherever you go, whatever you do, you're spreading your bacteria. Whether you're shaking someone's hand, you're giving them 8 million of your bacteria. And what kind of bacteria is that? Is it good? Is it harmful? Everywhere you touch, everything you do, our whole world is filled with this bacteria. And we don't realize that we're more bacteria than cells in our body. And we leave our unique signature of bacteria and our mark on the world. And that all is dependent on how we eat and how we live our life. And it can change your mood by making serotonin in the gut. That's what bacteria can do. It can make you crave certain foods depending on the different strains of bacteria you have. For instance, if you eat a lot of sugar and fat and processed foods, you're going to crave that because you're going to make microbes that crave that. if you eat more healthy vegetables and fruits, you're going to crave it. And don't take my word for it. You test this out and you'll see such a difference in what you're doing just by the food you eat. You'll create microbes that crave those foods and you'll want more of them. And one of the wonderful things about that is if you eat these foods that love you back, and kefir, kombucha, cultured vegetables, all of these fermented foods that are so good for you, you will start to crave them. But not only that, you'll crave fruits and vegetables if you eat them. You'll crave all kinds of foods that are healthy if you eat those and eliminate some of the things that are causing disease in your body or health problems. And it will become effortless. It won't be such a struggle anymore. Once you eliminate some of those foods that can cause disease, these foods will replace them. And it's such an easy way to live your life. And it just takes a little discipline in the beginning. And by changing the foods that I ate and eating a lot of cultured probiotic foods, I began to change too. And not only did my body change, but my everyday life began to change. And when you become well, something really cool happens. It opens up your heart. And all you want to do is give back and help others. It's just a side effect of feeling good. And most health and wellness experts at one time were sick themselves. And as they became well, they wanted to tell others. And that's basically how most of them got started, including me. It can change your life in such a dramatic way. It still blows my mind how much it changed me. And it can be just as simple as changing what you eat. And you have 100 trillion helpers inside of you that are helping you all day long and can assist you in this journey of wellness. And when I found out that they were here to help me breathe, to help me digest my food, to help reduce inflammation, there's so many jobs that they're doing every day, boosting my immune system. And when I began to tune into that and assist them and feed them and take care of them, then my whole life changed. And I went from laying on the couch to building a community of people who are getting well and teaching each other to do the same. Changing what you eat really does work, guys. It will change your life and the lives of those around you. And you'll spread your good bacteria here on this planet Earth, making this world a better place because you eat healthy and you'll have life-giving foods that are going to make you so healthy that you can't help but change the world around you. And if you don't know where to get started, I have everything on my site that you need that's for free. You can get my Getting Started guide and sign up for my newsletter at the top of the page, and it gives you how to make kefir, kombucha, cultured vegetables. I have a Get Started button on my website at culturedfoodlife.com. Or just go to the store and try buying some of these foods. Just see if you like them, try them out, get started, and see how you do. Just give it a whirl. And if you've got another method, then you know what? There's lots of ways to get healthy. And I just want to encourage you to do that so you'll feel good. Life is such a wonderful journey. And it's so much fun. And I have such a grateful heart. I am so happy to be living this life, getting up every day, helping you. It is pure joy for me. I have a lot of different avenues that I help people in, but nothing means more to me than the letters I receive on a daily basis of people getting well. Even their pets are getting better. And it's thrilling to me to see an epidemic of wellness, even if it's just in my own little community. I don't think we deserve to be sick. I think that our bodies are miraculous machines that know how to be well. I just think we've forgotten how to work with them. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'm believing in your wellness and sending you lots of love. Thanks for listening.